Imagine you're eating something familiar, something delicious. Now, what if I told you that this very food could be quietly stealing years off your life? Research shows that certain types of meat can speed up aging, harm your heart, and even increase the risk of dementia. And the scariest part? These meats are in almost every other fridge. We've always been told that meat is a source of strength and health. But is that really the case? Unfortunately, some types of meat contain hidden dangers, carcinogens, unhealthy fats, excessive salt, and harmful additives. Over time, these can break down your body, making it age faster. This is especially concerning after the age of 60 when your health needs extra care. But don't worry. Today, I'll reveal 10 types of meat that may be quietly damaging your health and what you can eat instead. This video will help you keep a sharp mind, strong blood vessels, and a long life without giving up delicious food. And if you want to stay energized, feel light, and keep your vitality even as you age, give this video a like. Let's get started. Sausages, hot dogs, ham. These foods look tempting. They're sold everywhere, and they seem like the perfect quick snack. But what most people don't realize is that behind their appealing look lies a real cocktail of chemicals. Many of us have eaten them all our lives without knowing they could be one of the main causes of vascular problems, heart disease, and even memory loss. Processed meats go through various treatments, smoking, curing, and preservation, to extend their shelf life, enhance their flavor, and make them more visually appealing. But at what cost? During this process, the meat gets loaded with nitrates, artificial flavor enhancers, and synthetic colorants. When you're young, your body might handle this chemical overload. But as you age, the negative effects become much more noticeable. One of the biggest culprits in deli meats and sausages is nitrites. These are added to keep the meat pink and prevent bacterial growth. But studies show that when heated or digested, nitrites can turn into carcinogenic compounds that raise the risk of cancer. On top of that, they trigger inflammation in blood vessels, significantly increasing the chances of strokes and heart attacks. Another major issue? Salt. Sausages and deli meats contain dangerously high amounts of sodium. At first glance, that might not seem like a big deal. But excess sodium leads to high blood pressure, swelling, and kidney strain. And for older adults, this is especially risky. Blood vessels lose elasticity over time, and any extra strain can have serious consequences. Now, take a look at the ingredient list on a package of hot dogs or deli meat. You'll often see soy protein, starch, artificial flavors, and stabilizers. These create the illusion of real meat, but they offer little to no nutritional value. In fact, some cheap sausages contain only 20 to 30% actual meat. The rest is made up of byproducts, fat, chemicals, and flavor boosters. Even premium brands that claim to have natural ingredients aren't always safe. Many high-end deli meats still contain nitrates, phosphates, and excessive salt. For example, some well-known brands add carrageenan, a thickener that has been linked to gut inflammation. And smoked meats often contain polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, compounds that are classified as carcinogens. So what's the solution? Should you give these foods up entirely? The best approach is to cut them down as much as possible. If you're looking for healthier alternatives, try baked or braised meats, homemade roasted pork loin, turkey, or skinless chicken. You can also make homemade patties without the harmful additives. You might be thinking this is the most dangerous type of meat, but it's not. Up next, we'll talk about a product many consider a delicacy, yet it hides even greater risks. Crispy, golden brown, sizzling with flavor, bacon isn't just food. It's a symbol of the perfect breakfast. It's in omelets, burgers, salads. It makes everything taste richer and more indulgent. But behind that irresistible taste lies a serious health risk, especially after age 60. Bacon isn't just meat. It's meat soaked in salt, nitrates, and saturated fats. Now, imagine putting those ingredients into your body every single day. The high salt content puts strain on your kidneys and blood vessels, leads to high blood pressure, and causes fluid retention. The result? Swelling, blood pressure spikes, and a higher risk of stroke. But the biggest danger is the saturated fat. It clogs arteries, contributes to cholesterol buildup, and leads to atherosclerosis. Studies show that regular bacon consumption increases the risk of heart disease by 42%. This is especially concerning for older adults because as we age, metabolism slows down and blood vessels lose elasticity. And that's not all. Cooking bacon at high temperatures produces cancer-causing compounds, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, and heterocyclic amines, HCAs. These chemicals are directly linked to an increased risk of cancer, particularly colon cancer. The crispier the bacon, the more harmful compounds it contains. The American Institute for Cancer Research has officially classified processed meats, including bacon, as a proven carcinogen. Their research found that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day raises the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. So if bacon is so harmful, why do we love it so much? The answer is simple. The combination of salt, fat, and crunch triggers a powerful dopamine release in the brain. It's an addictive effect that makes us crave it over and over again. But what if you want something delicious without putting your health at risk? There are great alternatives. Try baking turkey or chicken breast with spices. It's a flavorful, healthy swap. You can also make homemade roasted pork loin without preservatives or use avocado and nuts for rich, satisfying flavors in your meals. Think bacon is as bad as it gets? What if I told you that some cooking methods can make meat even more dangerous? Up next, we'll talk about one of the most popular ways to prepare meat and why it turns your food into a serious health threat. Smoked sausage, brisket, ribs, ham. These foods bring to mind special occasions, home-cooked meals, and rich, comforting flavors. Smoking is one of the oldest ways to preserve meat. In the past, it was used to prevent spoilage. Today, it's more about enhancing flavor and creating that deep, savory aroma. But hidden beneath that smoky taste lies a serious health risk that few people think about. Smoking exposes meat to prolonged contact with smoke, and that's exactly what makes it so dangerous. Smoke contains polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, compounds that settle on the surface of the meat. Their toxicity is well documented, and the World Health Organization classifies them as carcinogens. Another major concern is nitrosamines, harmful compounds that form when the nitrates in smoked meats interact with high temperatures. These substances are highly damaging to cells and increase the risk of stomach, colon, and pancreatic cancer. Research shows that people who regularly eat smoked meats are 23% more likely to develop cancer than those who don't. But the dangers of smoked meat don't stop at carcinogens. It's also packed with salt, which leads to blood pressure spikes, swelling, and extra strain on the kidneys and blood vessels. On top of that, it's loaded with saturated fats, which contribute to cholesterol buildup and increase the risk of heart attacks. This is especially dangerous for older adults, whose blood vessels have already lost elasticity. So, does that mean you have to give up smoked meats completely? Not necessarily. There are healthier ways to enjoy flavorful meat without the risks. Baking, braising, and steaming help preserve the taste without creating harmful compounds. And if you crave that smoky flavor, try using natural seasonings like paprika, thyme, and garlic. They add depth and richness without the toxic chemicals. We've talked about one of the most harmful meat processing methods. But what if the real problem isn't how it's cooked, but the meat itself? Up next, we'll discuss a type of meat that carries hidden dangers no matter how you prepare it. Juicy pork chops, marbled beef, slow-roasted ribs, fatty red meat is often seen as the centerpiece of a hearty meal, a true indulgence. But is it really safe for your health? Especially after 60, when the body struggles to process excess fat the way it once did. So, what exactly is fatty red meat? It's meat with a high saturated fat content, easily recognizable by its white marbling. The more of these fat streaks, the tenderer and juicier the meat. That's why marbled beef and pork are prized in the culinary world. But the very thing that makes them so flavorful also makes them dangerous. Saturated fats are one of the biggest enemies of vascular health. They raise bad LDL cholesterol, which gradually builds up on artery walls, leading to atherosclerosis, restricted blood flow, and an increased risk of heart attacks and strokes. But the dangers of saturated fats don't stop at the heart. They also affect the brain. Harvard researchers have found that excess saturated fat can speed up cognitive decline, increasing the risk of dementia. The reason? These fats impair blood flow to the brain, making it harder to process information and form new neural connections. But here's the good news. You don't have to give up red meat entirely. The key is to choose leaner cuts. Instead of pork or fatty beef, opt for veal, lean turkey, or rabbit. And if you want to keep red meat in your diet, go for lean cuts like tenderloin with minimal fat. Just as important is how you prepare it. Avoid frying in oil. Baking, braising, or steaming are much healthier cooking methods. But even if you pick the leanest cut of meat, there's another hidden danger, one that has nothing to do with fat. Sometimes, the real problem isn't the meat itself, but how it was produced. Up next, we'll talk about factory-farmed pork, loaded with hormones and antibiotics, and why it could be a serious threat to your health. Pork, one of the most popular meats worldwide. People love it for its tenderness, juiciness, and affordability. But while pigs were once raised in natural conditions, today, most pork in supermarkets comes from industrial farms, and that comes with a hidden problem that few people talk about. On modern farms, pigs are grown at an accelerated rate. To fatten them up faster, they're fed special additives, including growth hormones. The bigger the animal, the higher the profit. But here's the real question. What happens to those substances inside the pig's body? They don't just disappear. Residues of these hormones can remain in the meat, the same meat that ends up on our plates. Growth hormones can interfere with the human endocrine system, potentially affecting metabolism and hormonal balance. But it's not just hormones we need to worry about. Mass meat production is impossible without antibiotics. Pigs raised in crowded conditions are routinely given antibiotics to prevent disease. The problem? Traces of these drugs can stay in the meat, meaning that without even realizing it, we could be consuming antibiotics regularly. How does this affect our health? Antibiotics disrupt gut microbiota, weaken the immune system, and make the body less resistant to infections. And for older adults, this is especially concerning, as the immune system naturally weakens with age. So, can you avoid these risks? Yes. When buying pork, pay attention to its source. The best choice is meat from small farms or organic stores, where animals are raised without hormones or antibiotics. Proper cooking is also crucial. Slow cooking or high-temperature methods can help reduce harmful residues in the meat. But there's one more hidden danger: artificial additives that show up even in expensive, high-end meats. Next, we'll take a closer look at the chemicals lurking in your favorite meat products. Gourmet meats. It sounds expensive, refined, and delicious. Ham, pork loin, pastrami, bistema. They look appetizing, have a rich aroma, and an intense, satisfying flavor. But behind this perfection often hides something far less appealing, a cocktail of chemical additives that can seriously harm your health, especially as you age. What makes these products so flavorful and appealing? It's not just the meat, but artificial additives, flavor enhancers, colorants, and preservatives. They make the product look fresher, smell more appetizing, and last longer on store shelves. Monosodium glutamate intensifies flavor, sodium nitrite gives meat its pink hue, phosphates help retain moisture, and carrageenan makes the texture firmer. But the more of these substances in your food, the harder it is on your body. Monosodium glutamate can trigger blood pressure spikes, headaches, and increase strain on the heart. Sodium nitrite, during digestion, can turn into nitrosamines, which are carcinogenic compounds linked to cancer. Excess phosphates may negatively impact bone health, increasing the risk of osteoporosis. These artificial additives are also dangerous for the nervous system. Some of them can cause fatigue, irritability, and reduced concentration. In older adults, this can accelerate age-related cognitive decline, leading to weaker memory and slower thinking. Which gourmet meats are most likely to contain harmful additives? Almost all factory-produced products. Ham, pork loin, smoked turkey, packaged bacon. If they are mass-produced, there's a high chance they contain nitrites, flavor enhancers, and stabilizers. Even if a product is labeled as natural, always check the ingredients list. Harmful substances often hide behind complex names, such as E250 for sodium nitrite or E621 for monosodium glutamate. If you want a safer alternative, you can roast meat at home using natural spices. Homemade roast turkey or chicken without preservatives is a much better option than factory-made deli meats. But even if you give up gourmet meats, that doesn't mean dangerous foods are no longer a threat to your health. The next type of meat is often called fast food, but behind its convenience lies a whole range of hidden dangers. Fast food has become a part of modern life. It's quick, filling, and tasty, 3 reasons why millions of people around the world choose burgers, hot dogs, shawarma, and nuggets. These foods are designed to be addictive, making you crave more. But behind their crispy, golden crust lies a serious threat to your health, especially as you get older. Fast food meat isn't just a simple piece of meat. It's highly processed, packed with salt, saturated fats, flavor enhancers, and preservatives. The ground meat used for patties may contain mechanically separated meat, skin, cartilage, and even artificial beef or chicken flavoring. The result? A high-calorie meal that is nutritionally poor and puts unnecessary strain on the body. The first danger is excess salt. A single burger or serving of nuggets can contain up to 70% of your daily sodium intake. This leads to high blood pressure, strain on blood vessels and kidneys, and in people over 60 who may already have hypertension, this extra stress can be especially dangerous. The second risk is saturated and trans fats. These are found in fried meat products like chicken strips, sausages, and bacon in burgers. They increase bad cholesterol levels, which builds up in arteries, leading to atherosclerosis and circulation problems. The third problem is artificial additives. Monosodium glutamate, phosphates, and preservatives create the illusion of freshness and enhance flavor. But these chemicals can cause headaches, blood pressure spikes, and even contribute to cognitive decline, accelerating age-related changes in the brain. Which fast food meat products are the most dangerous? Burgers made with processed patties, hot dogs, sausages, fried chicken, meat-topped pizzas, and any quick meat-based snacks. Many of these are cooked in old, reused oil, which contains carcinogens and adds to their hidden health risks. The best way to protect yourself is to cook at home. If you're craving a burger, you can make one yourself using real meat in a whole grain bun. Nuggets can be swapped for baked chicken fillets with an oat-based crust for a healthier alternative. But the problem with fast food isn't just the processed meat, it's also how it's cooked. High temperatures and that crispy, charred crust lead to the formation of harmful compounds that can pose an even greater danger. Next, we'll talk about the hidden risks of fried meat and the carcinogens it contains. Fried meat, the golden crust, the satisfying crunch, the rich aroma. For many, this is the perfect dinner. But few people realize that behind this appetizing picture lies a serious health risk. This is especially true for older adults, whose bodies no longer handle stress as efficiently as they once did. When meat is cooked at high temperatures, especially on a stovetop, grill, or open flame, chemical reactions occur that produce carcinogens, substances that can contribute to cancer. The hotter and longer the cooking process, the more harmful compounds form in the meat. One of these compounds is heterocyclic amines, HCAs. These form when meat proteins interact with high heat. Studies show that HCAs can damage DNA, increasing the risk of colon, stomach, and pancreatic cancer. Another dangerous group of compounds is polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs. These appear when fat drips onto hot coals or a pan, creating smoke that seeps into the meat. PAHs are classified as strong carcinogens, and research suggests that excessive intake can increase cancer risk by 22%. But the dangers don't stop with cancer. Fried meat strains the liver, raises bad cholesterol, accelerates vascular aging, and puts extra stress on the cardiovascular system. For older adults, this can be particularly dangerous. Studies show that braising and baking help retain flavor while avoiding carcinogen formation. Steaming is another excellent option, especially when combined with natural spices to enhance taste. If you still want fried meat, try to avoid charring it too much, use nonstick pans, and cook with minimal oil to reduce harmful effects. But if carcinogens in fried meat are a hidden threat that many overlook, the next type of meat seems completely harmless at first glance. However, its ingredients conceal even greater risks. Up next, we'll talk about canned meat and the health dangers it carries. Canned meat has always been seen as a convenient, long-lasting food option. Canned stews, ham in a tin, meat pates, you can find them in any grocery store. They last months or even years without spoiling. But have you ever wondered how they stay fresh for so long? The answer lies in high salt content, preservatives, and chemical stabilizers, which can take a serious toll on your health. The production process of canned meat includes heat treatment, excessive salt, nitrites, and other additives to prevent bacterial growth. On the surface, that might not seem like a problem, but the reality is that these products contain several times more salt than the recommended daily intake. This isn't just for flavor, it's to extend shelf life. High salt concentration is one of the biggest threats to heart and vascular health. Salt traps excess fluid in the body, raises blood pressure, and puts strain on the kidneys and heart. For older adults, who may already be prone to hypertension, this can lead to frequent blood pressure spikes, swelling, and chronic headaches. Canned meat often contains sodium nitrite, phosphates, benzoates, and monosodium glutamate. These additives enhance flavor, color, and preservation, But research shows that excessive intake of these chemicals can negatively impact cognitive function, accelerate brain aging, and increase the risk of dementia. The best option is to choose natural alternatives. Stewed or baked meats can be stored in the fridge for a few days. And if you need long-term storage, homemade canned meat without preservatives is a much healthier option. You can also swap out canned meats for boiled turkey or chicken, which retains its nutrients without the harmful additives. But if you think canned meat is the most hidden danger, I have to warn you, there's another type of meat that often goes unnoticed, but can be deadly if not prepared correctly. Next, we'll take a closer look at one of the riskiest meats you can eat. Aromatic, flavorful, perfectly seasoned meat. What could be more delicious? Many people believe that a great dish should be generously seasoned with salt and spices to make it more appetizing. But few realize that excess salt and certain seasonings can turn even high-quality meat into a health hazard, especially for older adults. Salt isn't just a flavor enhancer, it directly affects the body's water balance and cardiovascular system. In small amounts, it's essential. But too much salt can become a serious health threat. The World Health Organization recommends no more than 5 grams of salt per day, yet a single well-seasoned meat dish can contain 2 to 3 times that amount. What are the risks? The biggest concern is high blood pressure, which is especially dangerous for older adults. Excess salt retains fluid in the body, putting extra strain on the heart and blood vessels. This can lead to swelling, headaches, and kidney dysfunction. People who frequently eat oversalted foods are at a higher risk of hypertension, which in turn increases the likelihood of strokes and heart attacks. But sodium isn't the only concern. Many spices and pre-made seasonings contain monosodium glutamate, artificial flavor enhancers, and preservatives. These additives can irritate the stomach lining, overload the liver and kidneys, trigger blood pressure spikes, and cause headaches. This is especially true for store-bought marinades, which often contain not just salt, but also chemical additives designed to prolong shelf life. Which foods are the most dangerous? Pre-marinated meats like store-bought kebabs, ribs, and factory-seasoned steaks are among the worst. Many processed meats and smoked products also contain hidden levels of salt and spices. Even a simple fried chicken meal from a supermarket or fast food restaurant can be loaded with salt and flavor enhancers, masking the poor quality of the meat itself. So, can you enjoy flavorful meat without the health risks? Absolutely. Instead of store-bought marinades, use natural spices like paprika, garlic, thyme, and rosemary. They not only enhance flavor, but also have health benefits. To cut down on salt, try lemon juice or fresh herbs. And if you do use salt, opt for sea salt or Himalayan salt, which contain more beneficial minerals than regular table salt. We've gone through the 10 most harmful types of meat and the ways they are prepared. The most important thing to remember is that you have a choice. You can swap out unhealthy options for safer alternatives, choose natural meats, cook them properly, and protect your health. If you want to keep learning about nutrition and healthy eating, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss important tips. Let me know in the comments, which of these foods surprised you the most? And now, I recommend watching the next video, which should be on your screen right now. In it, we'll discuss the 10 healthiest types of meat for your body. See you in the next episode. Stay healthy and happy.